Good evening.
Everywhere I go on this island, it seems to me I find degeneracy.
Watch a few movies, take a few notes. See, it's a lot scarier when there's no motive, Sid.
We have a bargain.
Watch a few movies, take a few notes.
Do you feel the pain? Oh, it's the pain, I can assure you, will be exquisite.
Watch a few movies, take a few notes.
His entire work consists of violence, all the time, obsessed with the issue of violence. Mayhem, gouging out of eyes, autopsies on the stage.
Come. It is time to keep your appointment.
Good evening, all. Welcome to episode 202 of Double Feature Horror Show. A weird one, a solo one, an oddly vibed one. This, I'm going to set some context here because when people come back for the rewatch, all those wonderful people on the replays, they might wonder, why is this weird? If you're watching this in 2027 or 2028, you're like, why is the vibe weird in this one? To set the tone, how can I say? Things are a little weird. This is similar to when we had a stream the night of the Queen's death, and we weren't sure. We were all feeling a little bit off there, I've got to say. This is similar. There has been big news. This is, 11th of September 2025. There was a political assassination. And I don't know how much to say about it, other than it's kind of, everyone I know has been a bit knocked for six by it. It's bloody awful. And, as a parent, it hits hard. It hits really hard. I think you can predict everything I'm going to say. I'm going to try and keep it chill because one of the things I try and do on this channel is, even though I obviously have my opinions, you may be able to detect one or two of them. What I wanted to do with this channel, these streams, is give you not only high quality movie analysis, but I do want to give a slightly apolitical space. I mean, as Samson's been asking for a distraction, that is what I try and do. So even though I wasn't sure if I'd stream tonight, I thought, well, I probably should. I want us to have a break from the political world, and that's what I'm going to try and do here. So even though it feels a bit weird streaming tonight, and even though this stream will go into weird places, I hope this in some way helps. And if you're coming back on the replay, if you're watching this years later, then this might sound like a little weird, but this is a weird night. But I will move forward, and I hope this is a sort of nice distraction. I understand that probably a lot of people are watching more current news, but if you don't want to watch that, I am here, and I am going to be talking about a film that I think almost no one has seen. I hadn't seen it. I hadn't heard of it. It was you chat who put me onto this. So yeah, honestly, genuinely, prayers go out to Charlie Kirk and his family. I've said prayers, and I think I will say more. But I'm going to leave that there so that we can have a this will be a distraction for those who want it. And years later, this will be maybe the only place talking about the Tenant, because I haven't heard of it anywhere else. And I can see why. This is weird. This is a Marmite movie. We are continuing our Polanski horror. And this is a really unusual one. A lot of you are going to hate this. Some of you are going to love it, and most of you will think I'm reaching. I'm also sure that I can't go into all of the stuff in this when I was watching this, and the week got busy, and so I didn't have the time to do a kind of rewatch that I would like to do or delve in. I don't think this is going to be the only time I talk about this movie. This has depth. As I said, as we saw in Repulsion, there were deep references to horror classics. So, Un Chien Andalou, Le Diabolique, you will not... Why all the French films? Well, Polanski was French. He was French-Jewish. And also apparently proficient enough in Italian to do his own dubbing for this movie. So, you know, that's where we get some of his influences. But he is also a cinephile, and he branches out in The Tenant into some weird areas. We get Kafkan influence. We get a heck of a lot of Rear Window. But we also got some stuff that I swear is feeding directly into The Shining. Directly. Now, is that impossible? Not in the least. Not in the least. This is released in 1976, so it will have been that's the... Kubrick would have been able to see it then, but being on the inside, he could have started earlier. Shining was released 1980, but we have to remember that work on The Shining started as early as 1977, when the sort of production prints of The Shining were being made. Not even the final one. It goes... Kubrick got his hands on it before it was published because King was blowing up in popularity at the time. And we also know that Kubrick was looking all over the place. So basically, it's entirely possible that Kubrick saw this film and read into it. He definitely didn't see Tenet, though, Lawrence. Definitely didn't see Tenet in this, unless I didn't understand that film's time-bending properties. It's entirely possible. Maybe you did go further back. Either way, thanks for putting that into my head. £2, very much appreciated. Thank you so much, Lawrence. You like getting the early supers in. I have noticed you're you're min-maxing your super chats. I appreciate that. And I might as well say at this point, if you want to support the channel, it's very much appreciated. You can send super chats here, or you can join as a member either here or on Subscribestar. And if you want to do that, you get exclusive content. You get exclusive content like the commentary for Talk to Me that I dropped only last week. So you can go and enjoy that. Just while I check who is in, I want to say hi, Adam Loves Horror, very good to see you. Lawrence, of course. Mr. GB, Samson, very good to see you. Heavy day for you, sir. I hope this is a distraction you're after. Very good to see Years. I know you can't be around. It's going to be a busy night for you, Years, and I hope you're doing very well. Waifu, yes. And Murgoot and TCG. Now, yeah, Murgoot, I know you can't be around. Thank you for the message, much appreciated, and hope everything's going well with you. And TCG, do not worry. Do not worry at all, mate. I totally get it. It's weird streaming tonight, man. It's weird streaming, but we're going to make a good go of it as best we can. Mr. GB, perfect, yes. Be a member, get your proper Arashun waifu plushies, indeed, and abuse your member chat function. Not only to get the exclusive content, but as a member, you can relentlessly taunt me in so many more members-only posts and request terrible films for me to cover. I can only hope that other members do not act on your suggestions, your devious suggestions, Mr. Gently Benevolent. So, where were we? Entirely possible this film informs The Shining in many ways. We might notice some of them as we go on. But before I go any further, yes, support the channel here on Subscribestar. Very welcome. All done. But also, if you don't have the cash to spare, don't worry. Leaving a like would be fantastic. A good number of you do it, but there's about 300 people see every one of these. Can we get 100 likes? Can 100 people do it? Can you pitch in? Can you click like? Maybe I'll try and remind it. I'd love that. Let's breach 100. I'm a tiny channel. I'm very niche. I cover niche films, and I cover them in far more detail than a normal person would want. But I know there are at least 100 of you who will like this video. Well, who what? You know what I'm getting at. Do the liking thing. Show your support for, what is it? Al Gore's Rhythm. There we go. Yes, Samson is completely correct. Well done. Have you liked the video yet, chat? Do your duty. We have got some details in this. Can I take a quick poll? I'm going to do this now. I'm going to do a really quick poll. How many of you have actually seen this? This will help me know the detail I should go into. So forgive my loud typing. Here we go. Poll is up. Poll is raging. This was really helpful on the men stream, by the way. If you haven't seen that, go and watch my Saturday stream on men. You people were wonderful. You paid for it. You got your bonus stream, and I really enjoyed doing that one. So that was fantastic. A modern folk horror that it looks on the surface. It's got that whiff of The Guardian to it, but you do a little reading. You look at it a little bit deeper. You find yourself looking at a very feisty film. Yes. 100 likes or else we increase the rent. Absolutely. Absolutely. Adam loves horror. And a Polanski film that Samson didn't see at film school. I'm a bit of an obsessive about this stuff, Samson. I'd never heard of it. But I ended up looking into his back catalogue a bit more. I think I do want to catch a fair few more of them. There's this the horror and the eroticism is in there in both, and you see them really intermingling in this one a heck of a lot. It's really interesting. Hello, John Graham. John Graham, did you request this? And also approve the new avatar, by the way. Who requested this, actually? By the way, with this and Calvaire, that's two films involving unexpected forced drag in very recent memory. Chat, are you trying to tell me something? Do you have some slightly dodgy interests here, chat? Heaven forfend. I would, you got to watch out for that stuff, chat. It can mess you up. Anyway. Samson, eroticism, absolutely. Absolutely. Eroticism is flooding this film. Yeah, you'd be really surprised. We'll hit it early on. All right, we'll get into this quickly. So I'm just going to check my poll. Okay, tell you what, I'll give you a little bit more detail, just to help you out. There's a lot to go in. Right. Exactly, wifey. You never know. You never know. You've got to be on the watch out for this stuff, I swear. Anyway. So, don't yuck my yum. I heard that somewhere. Don't want to know. All right. Yeah, I swear someone requested Tenant in the chat previously, prior to me putting it up as an option for Polanski. Yes. Okay, let's go into this. Some interesting details. This is the last of the Apartment trilogy, unofficial, like the Cornetto trilogy. Very similar subject matter. So I could just tell you this is a film where a foreigner, an outsider, basically moves into an apartment and finds them losing their sense of self and stability and going mad. So there we go. But, very much like Repulsion, very much like Rosemary's Baby. But we've got some specifics here. I'll try and hold back on the biographical elements, but my goodness, they are built in here extensively. People will say that The Pianist is Polanski's more biographical film. I think it's got to be this, although I have a horrible suspicion that Repulsion might also be pretty darn biographical, as we covered last week. Yeah. So he's making this in 75. This was shot giallo style. Let's give you something more interesting to look at. How about not the world's most boring title sequence where he copies Rear Window and just scans around. Sorry, he pays tribute to Rear Window and scans around a apartment block. I mean, it really is Rear Window. Let's get Isabella Adjani on. Who doesn't want to look at Isabella Adjani? My goodness. I mean, chat, if you aren't going to say it, I am. Scott Pilgrim. She is Ramona Flowers before Ramona Flowers. Am I right? Anderson, it is my absolute pleasure to cover it for you. I'd never heard of it. It was a joy. The sort of Kafka, The Shining vibes in this, they're beautiful. We'll get into it, but I know I have to revisit this because there is so much in this. There is so much to uncover. You could research this movie and dig in, I'm sure of it. So this film was shot giallo style, so in France, but they used a mix of European and mainland actors and let the actors act and speak in the language they were most comfortable with. Unlike giallo, where you had the full range, you could be speaking English, Spanish, Italian, French, and then we'd just dub it all over in post. I believe they only had the option of English and French. And that does result in giallo style, some rather awkward dubbing. It's like dubbing you can deal with, but when some people are dubbed and some people aren't, it does, it's a little bit weird. So it creates an odd effect in it, and it might be one of the weaknesses of it. But if anyone wanted to make the argument that the dubbing was there to create a kind of weird alienation, I'm not going to fight you too hard on that. Adam Loves Horror would Netflix and chill with it, absolutely. She is beautiful in this. I mean, she is 5 years off going into Polish director whose name I can't pronounce, apologies, Possession. Here she gets to be absolutely drop dead gorgeous, all her beauty enhanced, wearing these wonderful scene girl glasses. How are there not scene girls devoted to her outfit in this? I don't know. Gorgeous. She goes from this to the stressed out sort of basically a breakdown personified in Possession. She has got range. She's got impressive range. So yes, shot in France, giallo style, lots of dubbing. Polanski takes an unusual move to star as himself. He has done it before, but he gets a whole trifecta here. He does the writing. He does co-writing. We have a return of Gerard Brache from from Repulsion, and of course he's a lead. So he's got the big boy trifecta, and goes into some odd places. Anyway, we may think of more details as we go along, but as I've said, we start off The Tenant with a scan around. Oh, apologies, nearly missed it. In the details, we've got to also note that unlike Repulsion and Rosemary's Baby, this one was made after the murder of his wife Sharon Tate and the 4 other people who were with her. And it is so that happens in while he's out promoting Rosemary's Baby, I want to say 1969, and this is being made 1975. released 76, and it would be 1977 that the incident that you most know Roman Polanski for happens in Jack Nicholson's apartment, which he was sharing with then girlfriend Angelica Houston. Very uncomfortable stuff. We will talk about it when relevant. But it is interesting to think that he's got a bit of a distance from the Tate incident, and he's making this film, which has a lot of certain interests in it. And I used to always hear that Polanski's, Polanski's violation of the girl Samantha Gelmer is something like directly tied to what happened to Sharon Tate, his wife. But I've got to be honest, looking into this, thinking of Repulsion, and looking at interviews he gave later, it seems like he was kind of always interested in that stuff, and maybe it was more his self-restraint that seemed to drop. But again, I've only done cursory research on this. So here we go. Oh, Lawrence, is that you being thrown off by the dubbing? Same. I thought I'd got a weird version and tried to see if I could just switch it to pure French, but no. So this is where I found out what was going on. Thank you again, Adam Lazar. I don't think I thanked you for that super chat. Much appreciated. And yes, we're agreeing on this one. John Goris. Polanski had already done his sort of comedy bit with Fearless Vampire Hunters. But that scene was a next level. There's more of this. I'll get to it. So we scan around Rear Window style, and very consciously Alfred Hitchcock's Rear Window style, and find our protagonist, played by Polanski, whose name I'm going to check one more time, Mr. Tolkovsky, right? Tolkovsky is in need of an apartment. They are not readily available. They're a scarce item, so you get the feeling his choice is restrained, and one has come up at short notice from a woman who has, I'm going to say, offed herself. Interestingly, he's shown around by the concierge played by Shelley Winters. Shelley Winters, many of you will know from Lolita, is that an extremely awkward connection for Roman Polanski? Maybe she's just a darn good actress, and it's kind of nice to see her. An older role for her. She does not look like she did in Lolita at all. But then again, it was, 62, so sort of 13 years on from that. But she is domineering, unwelcoming, and he is a quite meek man, a guy designed to set people at ease. You've already got this sense of an unnervingness when he's being shown around, being kind of unwelcomed. You get a shot looking up the spiraling staircase, which kind of where something drops down, and you are expecting, oh, is he going to drop down? Why foreshadow it like that? But you get other things. Over the course of this, he will become increasingly paranoid and feel that everyone in the apartment complex is out to get him. This is communicated initially quite subtly, like the concierge showing him the impact made by the previous tenant jumping out. But also when she shows him it, she pushes her hand on his back as if she is going to push him out. It's quite lovely. There's already this claustrophobic atmosphere with there's almost like a panopticon because the building folds around. It is magnificent. This is one of those aspects I think really informs The Shining, where Kubrick really he purposefully built the set to enable certain shots and to communicate certain things. For instance, the way everyone is absolutely dwarfed by the size of rooms and made to look like children, which then is also reinforced by they start repeating references to children's nursery rhymes. Watch out for that next time you watch The Shining. Just look at how many times someone references like a nursery rhyme or a fairy tale, right? Now in this, because everyone can basically see into each other's rooms, there's kind of a panopticon, claustrophobic paranoia. Brilliant stuff. It is the film setting and architecture doing the work for you. Wonderful stuff. He will go, because he is a sympathetic chap, he will go and visit the woman who jumped out of the window, who is not yet dead, but is in a horrible condition. We will see her here, and I'm going to apologise. This is a bit nasty. Not really in terms of blood, but it is quite upsetting. It's an uncanny image, really. That in the sense that you don't have the face, someone's reduced, they can't communicate. It's a human who can't act like a human. It's also quite atavistic in the sense that she's really reduced in function. But it's just very disturbing, I found. And it's in meeting her that Tolkovsky meets Isabella Adjani's character, Stella. We'll return to this, but I just need you to note this. We see this very early before we've got much else from the apartment. Egyptology is going to become a big thing in this film. And the fact that, you're shown this early, you don't see all of this woman's Egyptology interest until much later. But the fact that she is wrapped up like a mummy here is part of the weird messaging of this kind of foreshadowing. Excellent stuff. Excellent stuff. So he meets Isabella Adjani, who is a friend of the woman whose name I've forgotten because I never remember anyone's name. And he's trying to be sympathetic, but he takes her to a cafe. By the way, he orders a martini. He initially orders a coffee and then suggests she should have something strong. He may be thinking she's all right, maybe getting other ideas rather than just being entirely about being sympathetic and trying to get information. It's very attractive. So he persuades her to get a strong drink and then switches his drink to a martini. Now, I don't think that's a martini. And I may have thought about this too much, and you might be wondering, why have you got a screen cap entirely of that drink? Who cares? I care. I care. I know France has a tendency to do martinis a bit differently, but I mean, have they used like the Rosso vermouth in that? Was anyone else bothered by that? Anyone? If Fez is around, I know he'd be bothered by that. But Fez might not be. So it was just me. But I would like to know I was not alone in this. Okay. Raspberry liqueur. Yeah, it looks more like raspberry liqueur, right? I mean, if it's like a vermouth rosso, it would look that color. But why would you have a vermouth rosso in your martini? Unless that's like a French style. I don't know. Does anyone know this? Anyway, I'll move on. Although if you're wondering, my personal preference is a Vesper martini. Wonderful. Wonderful. You get that. You get your Lillet Blanc in there. You can have typically like a mix of vodka and gin in that with the Lillet Blanc and the olive. Wonderful. Wonderful. So in France, martinis are made with it. Really? I've seen some weird stuff about like pineapple juice in martinis in France, but I wouldn't have thought that was well spread. It just threw me off, it threw me off. Apologies. It's not a major issue. What we should be taking from this is another bit of interesting foreshadowing. Much like The Shining, there's going to be a huge amount of ambiguity of what is going on. And Tolkovsky is going to turn to drink frequently. At later points, like you get some of the aspects that are breaking outside of his unreliable narrator frame are bits like a doctor just saying that he's got delirium tremens, aka he's got alcohol withdrawal. So there's stuff in there to point that some of the things he sees are maybe a bit more due to alcoholism, and you really have to doubt everything he tells you. But from here, Tchaikovsky and Stella go to a cinema, and it's quite a jarring transition. And they see Enter the Dragon. But while they're watching this, Stella's a bit into this. And we get this wonderful, funny sequence, like actual laugh out loud funny, where they're just watching Bruce Lee pounding dudes. And, you know, she's into that. She starts rubbing her legs. She starts rubbing his legs. She puts her hand on his leg and moves up to sort of, how can I say, the old saucisson. And at the moment she starts playing with his saucisson, we cut to this. Bruce Lee with the nunchucks. Now, I don't know, should that be, should it be a bow staff? Should it? I don't know. But the idea of playing with the stick is kind of funny. If you take the idea that it's perfectly possible to do in this, a lot of the people that he spends time with do not exist and are projections and idealizations of an absolute drunkard, possible schizophrenic, then it's entirely possible that this means he has just gone into the cinema to jack it, and Bruce Lee playing with his sticks is a subtle insinuation of this. I don't know if anyone else has taken that interpretation, but for me, I started wondering if he was projecting a lot of these really weird encounters he has with people, where it's just him and them, and they're being total weirdos. She entered his dragon. Oh, dear, 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 dear. Wouldn't it have been so much better if it was a fist of fury, eh? Huh? No. Oh, right, just me. Oh, game of little death. Am I right? Oh, okay, all right. We'll move on. We'll move on. Anyone notice, by the way, that the French translation of Enter the Dragon is Opération Dragon? Operation Dragon? No? All right. Just me. I enjoyed that. Sometimes you get a really fun French translation, but Operation Dragon is a bit more. Okay, the puns are being appreciated. Well done. Thank you, folks. They will. I mean, they were going to continue anyway, but no. I'm glad you liked them. I'll feel marginally less guilty. Anyway, this was really funny. Now, this is a question. Did Polanski, did he do a Tarantino? Did we get a Dusk Till Dawn situation where he decides to star in his own film just so he could get it on with Stella in the scene? You know, one of the weird things is Polanski is like physical with Stella in this scene, and then misses 2 other opportunities to get it on with her. Like, if he wanted to, he could have really built that in, but then there's this weird thing where he kind of depicts himself as above her, like, yeah, I could be getting it on with Isabella Adjani, but I'm not going to. And there is a whole line of viewing of this film as like the screenwriter fantasy, screenwriter self-insert fantasy, you know. The girls don't want the hunky guys. They want the nebbish. I mean, my experience, you know. Well, I won't go into that, but, you know. It's not as bad as Dusk Till Dawn, is it? It's not like he made her dress up as a schoolgirl. Anyway. Right. So, yeah, we have the wonderful comedy. The comedy is made even better. Where is it? When they're getting on, he's having a sneaky squeeze of the bobbins and making out. You know, he was being cautious, but it's Isabella Adjani. What are you going to do? He's getting into it, and he turns around, and this guy is staring at him dead in the face. I laughed out loud at this. This guy could be a meme. He is fantastic. You're you know, you're really enjoying yourself with Isabella Adjani, and you turn around and this guy is instant limp. It's not happening, is it? No, 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 no. By the way, that guy is the film's composer. That's Philip Saville. You gotta love that. Nice cheeky cameo for the film composer there. Can you imagine if that guy was really into Isabella Gianni and just Polanski's like, yeah, you can sit behind and you can watch. I suppose at least it's not like a chair in the corner, but it's chair in the corner adjacent, isn't it? Is this what you wanted me to analyze? Maybe not. Maybe I'm going to weird places with this. Anyway, the scene was really funny. And it leads us into a window of the one interpretation of this, which is, and we're going to wonder how much is in his head all the way through, but it gets more explicit. But it's very possible that his madness has really started now. Oh, Adam Latara, is it possible saying the guy behind them wasn't there because his sexuality kinks are confusing throughout? He had chances but chose to talk philosophical. Oh, does he give himself his own sort of his own, what's the phrase, exit? Does he sort of cut himself off? Very possibly, very possibly. That is an angle I really like if this guy is just a projection of himself. Yeah, I like that one. I like it. Yeah. I mean, he is going to picture people staring at him throughout the movie. That's a good take. That is a good take. Thank you very much for the $4.99 as well. It's very much appreciated. But the take is a very good one, actually. Well done. I suppose you've got a meta level because Polanski himself is a sort of fourth wall breaker. He is the director. He is the actor. For him to also be on screen, if you then have someone else from outside of the screen who's from production in there as well, looking at him, it makes it easier to believe they're a kind of projection. Yeah, that's one to think about. Now we'll move on to another person staring at him. This is something that's going to accelerate. He has to share a bathroom with other people, and he can look into it. There's another panopticon, like bed panopticon. Am I right, guys? I don't plan these. If I did, I wouldn't let myself say them. They just tumble out. Hang on, John Goris. I kind of want to hear more, but maybe I'll move on. Oh dear. Do you remember that meme from Resident Evil 4? The old no way fag meme? I'm picturing like you doing that with some cutie pie and you're just like, no way fag. I want to Kubrick explain to you. Could be. Is it true, John Goris? Did you do it? You can confirm. Anyway, so this is going to escalate. He can see into the bathroom. First he's looking in. Then he's going to start seeing that people are just standing there for hours. Later, they're going to look at him. This is going to be an escalating thing as he gets more and more insecure. And that is sort of the rest of the movie. He is going to get more and more insecure about more and more things, not just in the apartment, but outside as well. He is going to be far more fantastical in his visions and surreality. I'm torn about whether to go into these sort of really biographical bits. I might hold off on these. But yeah, he gets more and more uncomfortable. He starts getting complaints from other tenants about him making noise all night. I love shots like this. And his sense of reality breaks down. He's like, I'm not making the noise. He starts to think they're plotting against him. And we get stuff that we can pick on that might be happening, might be fueling his fantasies and his delusions. For instance, this is a scene from his obnoxious co-workers being awful and laughing about a tragedy. Can you imagine someone just laughing about a tragedy? You know, can you imagine it? No. I can't. You'd have to be an absolute bloody monster working for the Guardian. But this can pass you by. And this is why I think we could delve really deeply into this film. I feel bad that we're only going to get to be cursory in this. But this is a case of someone in an apartment causing a disturbance with noise, so just like it's happening to Tarkovsky, and to provoke people, he starts singing opera. When he's confronted, he starts singing Tosca. We are going to get a scene like this with marching music later, but this is a nice detail. Why Tosca? Why does he sing Tosca? Right? Do we have any Pacini-chans in the Pacini-chan? Ooh. I kind of want to put that in grok and see what it comes up with. Pacini fans. Do we have Pacini fans here? Lawrence, punctuation. Yes, that is a quotation. That's a valid form of quotation in French. All right. Hello, Patrick Batman. Very good to see you. Very good to see you. See, I knew I wouldn't get away with that slip up. I knew I wouldn't. Okay. In case you haven't, and give it a go, by the way. Tosca is a really easy opera to get into. Classic, absolute classic. You know, very easy to follow story, not super long. You'll enjoy it. But the key point, and I'm going to spoil a very old opera here, is that Tosca ends with the heroine throwing herself off the balcony, sacrificing herself. Okay, what is Tchaikovsky going to do at the end of the film? He's going to Tosca himself. There we go. So these little details feed in. They feed in. How much is he being influenced? How much is he generating? I don't know. And I thought this during last week's stream on Repulsion, but I didn't say it, and I should have. If Silent Hill 2 was inspired by David Lynch, and it bloody was, I really get huge vibes on Silent Hill 4, The Room, from this film, and Repulsion. Anyone else get that? Anyone? Because the idea of just being like trapped in the room, going mad, the way that, you know, those shots out the keyhole, the place becoming less and less safe. I swear the team behind Silent Hill 4, The Room, they were having a little look at this. You're very welcome, Lawrence. One of the things we do on this channel, you know, is you get a little opera knowledge. You get a heck of a lot of linguistic knowledge if you stick around too long, you know. Dr. Prepper has brought the real info here, calling them guillemets. I did not know that. I just remember that I can write it like that. It's just too long. Malheureusement, j'ai oublié la plupart de ma française. You don't get to use it. It just drops, doesn't it? It just drops. Anyway. So yeah, we have a more physical manifestation of the disease. He'd done this in Repulsion, if you'll remember, not just delusions of arms and walls, but in the plasticity of the wall, the cracks in the wall representing fracture. Here we've got this kind of, more diseases, right? But a hole that you can't help but be fascinated by. Think Bates Motel here. If it's there, there's a teleology to it. You have to be drawn into it. It's like he's being manipulated by it. Once he's found this hidden hole, he has to investigate it. But like that mystery of the tooth in the wall, there's so much in that. One thing that might be in it, we have to say is also, it's quite Silent Hill 2, you know. James does have to reach into walls at several points, I believe. I don't think he ever comes out with a tooth, though. Anyone else remember what James pulls out of the walls? Oh, Samson. Lucky you. Lucky you. Silent, look, the graphics may be gash, but it's still powerful. It's a very powerful game. If you're doing a full run through, I am very interested. That is promising. The wall reminded me of the short story we watched. Gosh, which one is that? Adam's Horror. Can you prompt me a bit more? Thank you for sending in $2. I'm trying to remember which one it is. One of the shorts we did. Oh, Addiction. Yes, I know the one you mean. It was called O. I think it's something like O. Yeah, that was a brilliant one. Yeah, exactly. It's the hole that you cannot help but go for. I'm pretty darn sure it was O. That one we rated very, very highly. It was black and white. Great story and great recall on that one. Right. One of the other things that may be going on here, though, is we might be getting a little bit of a recurrence of Egyptology. You know, the sort of corporal buried inside the structure. Now, is that a bit of a reach for this? Maybe, but the Egyptology is going to intensify. The Egypt posting will continue until schizophrenia improves. I said his mental state is decaying. I've just got you the another vision of him just watching a guy in the bathroom, standing there staring for absolute hours. Do you notice, though? What are his arms doing? His arms are crossed. Huh. Say, isn't that like a major pose for mummies and sarcophagi? Dunno, man. Standing totally still? Like that, arms crossed, sarcophagi, maybe? Is it a reach? Who knows? Who knows? Not to be Dr. Freud, but that hole is rather suggestive. I mean, let's go back to the hole. Yeah, I mean, look, we don't mind going Freudian here on this. I've got a whole book, Psychoanalysis in the Horror Film. We haven't delved into that enough. That's a great one. So if you want to talk about that, I have a whole stream of On the Uncanny with Simon Roberts. And there is a major aspect to that in which the eye is a stand-in for the sexual organ, which might sound weird, but there is a lot to it. You know, there's initially like the conquering with the eye wants. First, you get the visuals. Like, there's loads of stuff about voyeurs just having a peek, in which is sort of, if the eye sees that, that is enough. If that seems like a stretch, think about how violated you would feel about, you know, if someone saw you changing. You know, the eye alone can capture you in a very sexual way. And of course, we go back to Oedipus. So, yeah. Yeah, it would not be unfair to be Freudian on this, especially as he's compelled to it. He goes into it. I think it personally. I think it looks a bit more sphincteral, which again, very unfortunate given Polanski. But if they wanted to make it more vaginal, they easily could have. See, I never know if these comments are trolls, to be honest, but I am. You know, this is a channel you come for. I do have normal interests. As for more Egyptology, I'll just get them out of the way. He later goes to Stella's and drinks way, way too much. Again, I did mention the alcoholism as another potential sign of things going on in here. But I also got a vibe from Stella's apartment when he's leaving her. I got another really strong sort of Egyptology vibe here. Like, is that a push? You know, she's lying down, these sort of blue and gold stripes, right? These wall markings. they make me think of like a pyramid tomb. I mean, what do we think? Oh, gosh darn it, Oedipus. Gosh damn it, Patrick Batman. Oh, bloody hell, Sphinxtrel. You know what? I don't feel I've got any right to complain about terrible puns, but yeah. Okay. Oh dear. I did sort of bring this on myself, didn't it? Oh dear. All right. Yes. So if we're looking back at this, I think there's a fair amount that we can say looks like it wouldn't be out of place inside a pyramid. So the Egyptian vibe is going on. I'm not an Egyptologist. I never looked deeply into that. People could probably delve a lot more into the mythos there. I'm just pointing out the recurring connections, which may be entirely a matter of foreshadowing about his eventual fate, being mummified, but there could be a lot more going on there. Maybe there are ideas of reincarnation and projection that I'm not aware of. And I think I've got one of my final bits of Egyptology when he goes to the bathroom and finds that there are hieroglyphics all over the wall. And of course, it's when he discovers this that he has an even weirder experience. Trelkovsky looks out the window into his own apartment and sees himself there watching himself. This was fantastic. This was absolutely fantastic. I mean, chat, how did you find this? Because I thought this was an absolutely amazing moment. Absolutely amazing. Might as well end that poll while I'm here. Something like this is it's just like a moment that completely unravels your understanding of the film. That the idea that he might be has he just been perving on them the whole time? Have they been normal and he's been staring at them? It could be, but I mean, Freud's already been mentioned. We've got to add in that duplicates and doppelgangers are a major feature of the uncanny, das Unheimlich. So, you know, he could be bringing that in as well. We'll get into some other elements as well, but this was just wonderful for making you doubt what the heck is going on here. Wonderful stuff. Tricky Mental. The whole film is a riff on the Book of the Dead. The truth is Ba, Ren judges, Ra is reincarnation. I can believe you. I honestly don't know enough about that side of things. I could believe it. It's an impressive film, and I'm sure there's mythological layers to it. I will trust you. And if you want to write up about it or have already written up about it, I would bloomin' love to read it. And by the way, I really liked your bit on torture porn. I think you did an excellent job on that. Very good, very good. Right, so we don't just have the sort of uncanny aspect. We also go into some wonderful surreal territory. He draws on Kafka a lot, so there is very Kafkan influence of your was it the trials? So you're accused of a crime you're not told about. So him being constantly accused of making noise that he knows he didn't do. Very Kafkan, very unsettling, makes you feel persecuted, with the bonus aspect of we may later find out that actually, yeah, he did do them. This whole time he has been awful. To some wonderful, disturbing visions. Gosh, by the way, here's your uncanny as well. He has a vision of himself being sort of portrayed and persecuted in this weird motley garb. It's so weird, wonderful and captivating. But there are some brilliant tricks as well, where he's usually sort of waking up in bed, feeling disorientated, where you realize a trick has been played on you after a few seconds. By the way, we have a nice little Egyptology portrait here, and we've got some Egyptology statues here, which you can't see here. But he's reaching out for water from the bed after, drinking fairly heavily. And it takes you a few seconds to realize that this is a 2D painting. You have been hit with some forced perspective. That is not real. It's a painting. The film doesn't really comment on it. It's just he tries to reach for it, cannot, and then carries on as normal. You realize you're in this really disturbed landscape, and mental landscape, as it were. And we get a similar trick played on us a bit later, where he's even more disorientated. Hello, Egypt. Hello, Egyptology statue right there in the corner for anyone only listening to me here. If you're only listening, I'd say this is a good moment to look, just because this is some great sort of forced perspective happening. So we've had the 2D object causing you a bit of a brain ache, but he comes back into the room and he's in a totally different room where everything is scaled up. Think of your Lord of the Rings effects and how they were done. Here he has been made tiny because everything else is big. There is a giant large bed. Actually, you know what? Lord of the Rings, too classy for this channel. Think back to Cat's Eye. Cat's Eye and how they used a dwarf actor in a goblin costume and just built two different size sets. There you go. That's a bit more niche. That's a bit more in line with what we do here, isn't it? So, yeah, brilliant forced perspective to make him seem tiny. It works really well. There's only a few slightly dodgy things, like I felt the water bottle didn't hugely hold up, but it's got a good effect of disorientating you because it takes you a few seconds to catch it, but also implying how he feels he's shrinking. I would also suggest this is one of those continuations with The Shining, where the geography of the space implies something about the mental state of the character. Of course, he had already done this really, really well in Repulsion. We noted that I think I still have that screenshot. Let me try and get it for you. Do I have it? I think I've got it here. Right. Let's go for that. Yeah, that's the one. Okay, so in this one, he builds a set that is suddenly about 4 times larger than the room as we knew it. And in that case, the idea is to, again, make our character, our protagonist, feel small. But in this case, it's more of a put her into a childlike state because of her particular tragedy. So yeah, just to show you, he's used that technique before, and it was very effective. I see I'm not the only one who liked it. Adamless Horror, thank you for the super chat, very much appreciated. Those 5 minutes woke me up with the 2D in bathrooms. Yeah, it throws you off. I wouldn't say this film was particularly scary, but these things do disorientate you and disturb you. Yeah. Anderson, you are completely correct. See, I'm never. I don't know. Should we get into that now? This is probably a really good time to get into that theme. Yeah. I mean, look. I think we might as well do this now, and I'm going to do this quite sensitively. If this were covered on Devon Stack's channel, you might get some slightly different phraseology around this, but I insist to be a bit of a break from that sort of thing for people. Can we get a good? Oh yeah, we can get a good image for this. If you don't like needles, maybe I'll choose a nicer one for you. Oh, you know what? We're gonna have to scroll through a bunch of them anyway. Here we go. Right. So let's talk about this. I don't want to say author as self-insert, but I am going to say this is extreme biographical. Lawrence, I don't want to be that guy, but I interpreted his persecution complex as relating to his background. That he's a French citizen rather than actual Frenchman is mentioned throughout the film. Yes, it is. Yeah, let's not mince words here. And we're not saying this to be harsh. When I don't think I went into it too much. I have mentioned it, but when I point out that Midsommar is not just an attempt to do folk horror, but it is a very Jewish perspective on folk horror, I'm not saying that as an attack. It's like it's an expression of a community, right? Or at least one person from a community whose opinion is representative. We've got a similar thing here, right? Just as with Repulsion, where we had a sort of transfiguration into a female character, we have another French person, in this case, translocated to London and an outsider there. In this case, we've got someone with more of a Polish surname being an outsider in France. Polanski was an outsider in a sense, in that he is German, Polish, Jewish, and very European. And it's in this case, it's the Polish Jewish side that is emphasized, more Polish, but there's a bit of an overlap there, you might say, throughout the place. Throughout this, yeah, he is made to feel unwelcome. He is someone who feels that he's doing his best to ingratiate himself and be pleasant, but is being very judged, being unwelcomed as an outsider, regarded hostilely. But there's more specifics to connect it to the Jewish experience as we go on. This is not tinfoil stuff, right? So he goes into a church for the funeral of the woman whose apartment he is taking over, and he's extremely uncomfortable in a church. This is a Catholic church. This is a very Catholic church. When we're in his head, he's sort of very aware of, how can I say, the Christianity makes him very uncomfortable. Why would it do that? Well, if you're Polish, decent Catholic presence there, that's probably not going to bother you. But if you are Jewish, it probably is. The fact that he starts seeing the priest discussing hell for him and looking directly at him is your kind of implication that because he's Jewish and doesn't accept Christ, then he's going to hell. He starts taking it personally. He starts seeing not just Christ on the cross, but an increasingly mutilated, decayed Christ. It makes him very uncomfortable. The little girl stares at him as if to say, "Why are you here in church? You are not welcome," and makes him panic. So it is his sort of Jewish outsider experience. Like, you're not even welcome to mourn. You might even say the feeling that he's taking over a place that he shouldn't be in, right? This is that character's projection, the feeling that, oh, I'm not welcomed here. He starts panicking, realizes that he has to get out the church. He goes for, he tries to breach out, get out the wooden doors, but he can't. Those wooden doors, absolutely impenetrable. It causes a panic, like he's been locked in, and he then legs it. Now, this imagery, I don't think it's a reach to suggest that someone of his background pounding at the door trying to get out. I don't know. I don't think it's a reach to think he may have been referencing something there. Anyway, as I say, he's doing his best. They're judging him. They're treating him like an outsider. When he goes, even simple things like he is going to a cafe. Oh, hi, Distant. I could see you, man. Also, I just saw popping in. Hi, G. Davis. Good to see you. Hope you're enjoying the stream. Hope this is a nice bit of relief and a laugh for everyone. Yes, just neutral film analysis here. an intriguing scene that works for the horror of this kind of Egyptian possession reincarnation theme, but also works for the Jewish experience. Maybe it's just personal to him, but we've seen it in many other sort of authorial expressions. The feeling that they are trying to turn him into someone else. The feeling that when he goes into the cafe, or they remark on, hang on, where are we? What do you mean, Patrick Batman? These ones right here. I think they're original. I don't know if they're like a recreation from the late 40s or something, but they look... anyway, that's taking us into details. Where are we? We want the cafe. Here we go. So something as simple as he's ordering in the cafe, and when he's there, they basically say, yeah, oh, yeah, your predecessor always had this. And they try and move him, like, from a little thing like they don't have his Gauloise cigarette. You can have your Marlboro. She always had Marlboro, you'll be fine. Oh, you should have hot chocolate. She always had a hot chocolate. And I thought it was a bit, like, goofy early on, but the first time they did this, like, you kind of start to wonder, like, oh, are they going to sort of, like, push it on him? Eventually, he starts taking her brand of cigarettes. And even when later he tries to fight it, he tries to freak out and says, no, I don't want a hot chocolate. I want a coffee. And it's like, no, the coffee machine is broken. It's like everything is conspiring to change him. And this might be his, the Jewish experience of, if you are trying to integrate, you are going to have everything, how can I say? The attempt to fit in is going to result in a total transformation. You will not be able to keep your identity. People are going to want to make you something different. Simple as, you can't have your Gauloise, you can't have your coffee. People are going to force you into that realm. Sorry, into that way of being. Yeah, Dr. Prepper, exactly. The loss of identity in assimilation, the feeling of losing something, actually. The feeling very much of losing something. And a resentment at that, So, careful now, chat. Careful now. But he takes it further, and we've got a really weird crossover here. Really weird crossover, cross being the operative word. Not where I expected the film to go. So Roman Polanski, Tchaikovsky, finds the previous tenant's dress. Sorry if anyone got a jump scare from that. The previous tenant's items are still in the apartment, she's not even really died yet. Some of them have been removed, but there's a dress there. He finds a bra later. This is not where I expected the tenant to go. Now, I sort of had to say this when we're covering Calvaire. There is an interpretation of this that I'm sure leaps to the mind when we're on the internet nowadays. But I think this is, like Calvaire, it's something different. Oh, shall I just spoil it? I'm going to spoil it for you. One of the films we're going to do in the Halloween special. Okay, see, I don't... Okay, no, I'm not going to spoil it. Sorry. It's meant to be a revelation. Sorry. Just enjoy the Halloween special. But this comes up in another film, right? There is, like, cross-gender stuff, and I don't think it's for a superficial thing. I think it is... in Calvaire, when the character was forced to cross-dress and being called Gloria, right? There was hang on. It was Gloria, wasn't it? I felt there was a thing in there about how you're made to contort as a performer, how the industry mocks you, and the kind of processes you're put for are normal for a female actor or performer. But the fact that it was done to a chap made it stand out more, right? So it registered as weirder and more perverse for you. There is a similar effect. Well, a similar thing happens in one of the movies I'm going to cover for the Halloween specials. And again, it's not about transness. It's about something else. It's about the attempt to change your nature. And transness is just a good way of communicating that. This, again, it's shocking because it is doing a big transformation. But it is more about him losing his identity. And they can make that loss of identity for him as a Jewish dude stand out more, communicate more effectively by basically saying if they're trying to make him into this, it's a much more radical departure from who he is. And it's a much more uncomfortable departure. And I think that's what it is trying to communicate. Now, in terms of the story reading, it goes somewhere weird and macabre, but it also works for that reading of the slightly biographical element of this French, Polish, Jewish guy who is trying to work in America, trying to work in France, work in Britain. And the question of like, who do you have to be? You know, how much of yourself do you lose in trying to fit into that world? There we go. Lawrence asking, how do I interpret the fact that Tsiolkovsky's persecution was all but confirmed to be a figment of his imagination? Well. You're asking me dangerous questions here, Lawrence. Very dangerous questions. Gosh, Devon Stack would answer this very differently. I will answer more in the lines of, say, Academic Agent in his Steven Spielberg video. The persecution complex. How can I say? I mean, not intending to be overly harsh, but being of a Jewish persuasion is not exactly unassociated with high neurosis. And there is a weird thing if it is actually sort of kind of all of it in his head, if he actually is making a whole load of trouble. But then again, and is just like, what? That wasn't me. Chat, you are trying to do me in tonight, aren't you? Yeah, I mean, look, it's fun. It's, well, we're talking about sort of, there's an ironic aspect to it, but yeah. Is Polanski unaware of this? Is he unaware of the idea that he might be playing into a further stereotype by him actually, oh yeah, he was a problem all along. He actually was disruptive. Who knows? But yeah, I don't know. Makes you want to look and see if Devon Stack ever covered this. Who knows? I'll move on, but yes, it's an interesting question. I'm not going to lie, it's part of the reading. It's weird. What did Polanski mean by this? Indeed. Gosh darn it. Adam Lazara, thank you for rescuing me from an extremely dangerous tangent. When he first sees the dress, he closes the closet, then goes back to it almost immediately. Had a feeling this was coming, but wouldn't have 50 years ago. Yeah, I mean, he sees it and he sees the dress and doesn't throw it out. And you might think initially that's him being respectful. He does not know what's going to happen to the former tenant. But then, you're given that we're getting this theme of doomed cycles and compulsion, maybe he's already got it. Maybe he has already got that intention. As you say, this becomes more of an itch he has to scratch. Like, where is it? I was looking for the hole in the wall. There you go. The itch he has to scratch. He will find himself compelled. over and over again. He can't escape it. It haunts him. It follows him everywhere. He's not able to move around this. Thank you very much for $5. Again, you're very generous tonight, and I very much appreciate it. Yeah, maybe you're getting a read for this. Anderson, if I'm saying it's a, could you elaborate on it's not Polanski's style? Could you help me out there just so I can follow it? If I'm missing something, let me know. I am totally up for having missed something. This is a deep film. There's a heck of a lot in it, and just let me know. Let me know. If we're talking about some sort of weird compulsion as well, this is another beautiful detail. This poster recurs over and over again, which it would in if he's walking around the same neighborhood. But there's a great shot framing it where he's standing directly in front of it, and the figures are looking at him, like beckoning to him, summoning him. You may think that the paint on the faces is kind of like a foreshadowing of the messy makeup that he puts on. And I'm sorry, chaps, he doesn't do his makeup very well, you know. I expect higher standards. But this is not accidental. This is clever stuff. If your French is rusty, la peinture lure. The lure of the paint. So the lure of creation, the lure of the artist. Also a pun on splatter. Paint splattering. So he's going to make a terrible mess of things as we go along. Could be a lot more to it, but great stuff. Very, very good stuff. We go further and further, actually. We haven't escaped the biographical details yet, because as he does start to go further into paranoia and madness, we get the idea that he really is, how can I say, we see an external shot of people around him being normal, and then we see what he sees, and all the faces are switched, and it's some horrible, grotesque imagery where they're out to get him. People's identities are switched. Regular members on the people on the street become people from his apartment complex out to get him. So it is that persecution idea. And then there's this really, really interesting moment, which, again, if you think I am reaching with the sort of Jewish biographical stuff here, check this out. I wish I could show you more of the scene because it's very tricky. But there wasn't one clear image that gave me it perfectly. But when he has sort of flipped out, he's trashed Stella's apartment, he's run out into the street, he's tried to acquire a gun, he's been hit by a car, he is losing it, right? A doctor comes out of the crowd to tend to him, and he's starting to sort of what's the phrase? Sorry. He's starting to see sort of manifestations where the crowd are swapped out with, I don't know, almost like this vision of hell. Like, do you guys remember In Bruges? In Bruges, the ending of that, chap's being dragged through the streets and starts seeing this almost like passion play, like grotesques and demons standing over him. It's kind of like that. Really good. But this doctor in particular, I went for a shot, comes out the crowd to treat him, and I went for a shot where we could see what he was wearing a bit more. If you are thinking of like end of Starship Troopers, Neil Patrick Harris, you know, we're getting these vibes. We are getting very mid-century German vibes here. We are getting who's the guy I'm thinking of? Mengele. We're getting Mengele vibes here. The long trench coat. What does he do? Comes in, injects him. Right? He's held down, he's injected by a guy basically looking very movie mid-century German. This, yeah, Gestapo, very Gestapo, right? So this is, his persecution has move from a general outsider to basically the mid-century Germans are here to get me. Polanski knows what he's doing here. He is a clever artist. He is a smart artist. I also want to say to him, by the way, massive kudos. I rewound this a couple of times. When he takes a shot and rewinds it, the blood spurts. Where is it? The blood sort of goes into the needle here. Can you see that, guys? Can you see my mouse? It fires back. And I'm like, okay, that's what happens in a real injection. Like, you do get the blood shooting up in there. How did they do that? That's a really impressive effect. No, he just did it. That is just a real needle. So they're probably putting saline into him, but that is like really good. He actually went and let them do that to him. So I think the fact that you can't see the actor's face for the doctor, they probably have an actual medical stand-in to do this. So yeah, there we go. There's been a few comments I just want to catch here. So Tricky Menthol, whose takes are always worth reading. So the hieroglyphs in the building are a spell put there by Simone. So he's not going mad, but is actually being taken over by his spirit. It's not the neighbour's imagination, but Simone. Okay. I like this. I could go along with it. I mean, it seems like you know a fair bit more about this, so kudos. How does that explanation sort of take care of the time jump thing that happens at the end? Is that because that's a bit I would like to make sense of, because that for me is where we go full surreal, full Twilight Zone, and I love it. Right, so Anderson saying, so I asked you for a clarification that all being in his paranoid head rather than the full-scale persecution impacting his already traumatized state. So that would be more okay. I could go with that. I hope I have said that it is ambiguous, and it's deliberately ambiguous, and that would serve the sort of Kafka allegory that like it really is there, but you also put someone in a state to be influenced, and then you get a more dramatic result. I hope that makes sense. Sort of like Videodrome, right? You can show Videodrome to anyone, but it takes the right kind of mind to really pick up the signal. So yeah, I think, I mean, my instinct is to lean more towards a high-rise situation. I mean, people might be groaning here, but I really liked high-rise. I like the impact of geography and architecture on the mind. I like psychic geography. So you can feel free to groan and disregard my opinion here. It is a niche one. But I feel we get so many shots where they're shown to be kind of regular. Like some of them are rude. There probably are like politics in the apartment, but not the full-scale weird persecution that he imagines, where he's where they're basically all watching him and cheering on. Like, I mean, we're getting an exaggerated view clearly, but my instinct is very little of it is them. I don't know. I'm going to be rewatching this I need to rewatch the whole thing. I know I've talked about this for close to an hour and a half. This is cursory. I know we can go deeper. I know there are so many more details we could pick on. Tricky Manthol is bringing in some of the Egyptology stuff that and making sense of it in a way that I have not. There's so many things we could dig into here. Like there's a deep history, and I thought I would pick up on the sort of the biographical insert because I thought that was quite interesting. I know it's slightly spicy territory, but I hope you folks feel I have handled that sensitively and like genuinely sensitively, and not like doing it for edgy boy points. Like I really think that is in this film, and very deliberately so. A recurring theme we will notice. Anyway, we move towards this bit where he has basically had this identity forced upon him. He really does feel he has lost himself and lost his mind. And he goes back and leans fully into the Simone outfit identity, puts the dress on, does a full get up again, and then jumps out the window again. And a bit that might, this would be a hard sell for a lot of people. I think this film would be divisive. A lot of people are going to find it boring. A lot of people are going to think it drags. A lot of people are going to ask where the scares are. Him jumping, an unfortunate shot, I think, where when he jumps out the first time, there's build up. You're expecting it to be nasty. The shot of him falling and like seeing his like bright green pants, I would say slightly, slightly bad choice, to be honest, because it just added a ridiculous element into it. It's already sort of a tricky sell to get people feeling pathos when he's cross-dressing. For him to then get up bloodied and then do it again. I'm not saying I laughed at it, and I didn't, but I did have a thought in my head of like, I could see a lot of people just, cracking up at that and thinking it had gone pathetic, not pathetic, if you get me. No, Lawrence, I don't think you were reaching at all. I think that was extremely, I think it was extremely deliberate. John Goris, I laughed at it, yeah. It's a tough sell. It's a tough sell. I can see it as was it they used to call it a NARM moment? Is it NARM? Is that what TV Tropes calls it? I'm now thinking of that film, The Belief, with Ryan Gosling. At the end of the film, that dead Kara is endlessly climbing the stairs of his religious school, meeting his teacher and father. I have not seen it. I've not seen it. The second jump has this level of finality and intensity. It's very maddening. He's even messier the second time round. Him just, I think it works, but I do think it is a tough sell. Oh God, Lawrence, I hadn't even thought of that one. I'll read the comment for anyone just listening. Him jumping a second time would have been harrowing if it weren't for that Chris Morris sketch about someone committing offing themselves by jumping out of a first floor flat dozens of times. Yes, they didn't have a 12-story building to hand, so they jumped out of a one-story window 12 times. Yeah. I think, John Graham, I saw a Black Pill stream about it, but I don't remember too much. Yeah, I think that was a Jam sketch, if I recall. Yeah. So it's a tough sell, but I think it was a smart decision in that one to, like, obviously there's a predestination that he has to smash through the exact same thing as Simone, but there was a good decision to make it more harrowing and to have him much, much more bloodied in it. So it was far nastier, and it helped make it hard to watch, and one hopes also stem a few of the laugh reactions, but you do what you can. And then we get the inevitability here, remembering the court is a circle. He's gone up. The apartment court is circular. He's gone up and come down and cycled that twice already. We're getting circles within circles, and then the wider circle. He has had a cyclical. There we go, a cyclical fate, and now he is mummified in the hospital too. But this then gets even weirder, because who comes and visits him but himself, Trelkovsky, and Stella. They come and visit him we we sort of revisit that scene from Simone's perspective, and it's Trolkowski in her body reviewing it, watching them, telling you he is in a sort of doomed time loop. And we get a final circle as we zoom into his mouth as he screams in horror before he will later die. Yep. It is a heck of an ending. It is a heck of an ending. It is very haunting. It is weird. It is a good payoff. I said I'd give a brief summary, a slightly more detailed summary, and I think we've ended up just sort of doing the analysis on the way. I hope that worked for you. In the brief summary of chap goes mad in an apartment, outsider goes mad in an apartment, kind of does it, but had to give you the details, pluck out a few streams that we could analyze here, and I hope it was interesting. As I said, I know there is more in this. I know there is so much more to dig into here. Lawrence asking, do we know whether it was Polanski in the hospital bed at the beginning of the film? Well, there is Trolkowski there. I will get you that initial mummy. Right, here we go. Tell you what, I'll move them next to each other so we can do the comparison. So there's one. There's two. Same makeup. Could it be Polanski? You do sort of... These look like they could be breasts, but then again... I am going to say no, it's different. I am not good at recognizing faces, but I'm going to say it's different. Yeah. Anderson, see, it's not just me. It's like the martini at the start, right? Those flashy green pants, just sort of, they were weird to me. Make them black, okay? Just make them black so they're not remarkable, but it's like, they really stood out. They stood out and it was weird. That took all my attention. It was a decent stunt fall as well, and my attention went on those pants. What can I say? I don't think I'm a weirdo for that. Anyway, many other reasons, but not that. All right. Right. Oh gosh, I missed this. Sorry, chat. Adam was horror with a great pun. Did he break a glass ceiling? Yes. Ah, terrible. Well done. It's all right. We're all on the pun train here. We all love it. Well done. Yeah, there we go. Close examination. I think it is someone else. I'm mostly telling by the mouth. Yeah, there we go. And as Lawrence has pointed out, we do have someone playing Simone in the credits. Yeah, there are deeper depths we could go into with this. I know there are, and it's somewhat frustrating, but how can I say? Also delight. Like I did a 2.5 hour. I really do keep thinking of this in comparison to The Shining. This is one of those films where we could get so much more. There could be a just like a brilliant Novum style 7.5 hour one on this, without the weird progressive swings in the interpretation. You know, this might sound like a little tangent, but I did tell you how I was watching his 7.5 hour video on The Witch. Absolutely peerless research, peerless effort. The guy did an amazing achievement, but he does end it by saying, like, what's her name? Thomasin. He does say, like, Thomasin has now probably just licked a goat's ass, but that is how wonderful it is to be liberated. It's a good ending. Seriously, I'm presenting that in a kind of a crude form, but he says, like, actually her becoming a witch is actually a really good liberation, and really it's it's religion's fault. But then he's also described the kind of horrific sexual act she was probably just doing with the devil. I'm not joking. Go to about 6.5 hours in. 6.5 hours in, start listening to his interpretation of what she probably did when she was becoming a witch, and then watch him follow into, yeah, and this is like, this is good. There is, look, we all have our biases. I don't want to be unfair here. I make my own mistakes, but he does go through a weird thing in that where witchcraft is an analogy in some bits of the film, and in others it is a genuinely real force in the film, right? So witches are ultimately real in the film, but then he is not able to take religion as real in the film. In his analysis, it sort of switches in and out. So look, we're film analysts, our bias gets in, but that was a particularly weird one. The actually her becoming a witch is a good thing and a triumph, but she probably was just, you know, what's the phrase I'm looking for? She was probably just like going down on a goat's rusty starfish. So rusty sheriff's badge, that's what I'm thinking of. It is a really weird end in the analysis. It really is. Because if witchcraft is real in the film, which it is in the world of the film, witchcraft is real, then she is literally just damned herself to hell. Like, it was weird. He went into a really weird, like, it shows the danger of religion, whereas I think when we watched The Witch, we found like the problem is more like you need community, you can't be arrogant, religion has its faults, but you kind of do need community and to keep each other in check and not be prideful. Dear. Really, Patrick Batman? Really? See, Limp Bizkit references. You're the Durst, man. You're the Durst. Terrible. Anyway, yes. Okay. I will get off my The Witch talk here. I'll get off my The Witch talk, but I had to mention that. And I'll get off it because Adam Lozara has been an absolute superstar, sending in another $2. There is a cut in his hand, which he got in the window. Yes. Do we have that on the original? Yeah, we've got it on the original. Like it's a cyclical thing. We have the yeah, we have it explained. It's very neat. It's like poetry. It rhymes. Thank you very much again, Adam, and thank you for your generosity throughout the night. Very much appreciated. And Lawrence, thank you. Sending £2 and saying apologies for tempting you into risky territory. Well, that's okay. I think it was all handled very sensitively with no sly jokes whatsoever. Thank you again. Right. Thinking you can sneak your new metal reference past me. Weak, Patrick Batman. Weak. Okay, folks. Well, as I was saying, there is so much in this. We could do 7 hours on this, probably. Last year for Halloween, I did a 2.5 hour conversation with John D about The Shining. I did at least 2 hours and 20 on it with the Lotus Eaters when I was doing the Stanley Kubrick series, and I had previously, only a few months prior, recorded an audio commentary for The Shining. You can find 2 of those on my channel, and you can find the Lotus Eaters one on lotuseaters.com. And you should all sign up for, what is it, Samson? $6.99 a month? Well worth it. You could just get 1 month and binge the Kubrick series. Bargain. Absolute bargain. And also Brokenomics. Brilliant show. The point I raise is I did about 7.5 hours on The Shining, and I was able to basically talk about different things each time. This film is like that. Could I do 7.5? No, but probably not. But this has some serious depth into it, and I think would be really worth exploring. The Tenant needs more attention. It needs a lot more attention. So tell people about this film. If they like The Shining, there we go. Oh, John Graham saying You watched a 5 or 6 hour video on Suspiria, which is very interesting. John, I need the link to that. And is that classic Suspiria or new Suspiria? I would watch it on either, to be honest, but I particularly like the new Suspiria. We've got to know. We need that link, John. We need that link. I think I made you a mod on this or something so you could post links, but if you can give us some kind of name and title to find it, that would be great. Yes. Where are we? Lawrence. Yeah, you know what? I think the thing with Suspiria 2018, I think it's Luca Guadagnino. I think it's just not what people were expecting. Just like The Shining got weak reviews initially. People thought it was going to be a kind of standard horror fare. They might have thought this would be standard horror fare, and it's very different vibes. All of them, people are trying to do something very unique and very ambitious. So, yeah, wonderful stuff. Totally agreed. Really loved Suspiria 2018. Tried to be epic. Tried to do epic horror. Was fantastic. Just like this film, tied in history in a very ambitious way. Right. And yes, Adam was horror. I looked at the Rotten Tomatoes as well. I was impressed because I expected this would be trashed on there. 87% audience, 84% reviews. I'll take it. I'll absolutely take it. That's a winner. Yeah. Good. Very good. Very good. So, may have not initially been received well, but it's found its audience. But gosh darn it, I think it needs a lot more attention. So, folks, do your bit. What would I score it? What would I score this? I haven't got to all the depths of it. I am going to say, call me a Philistine. A plot about someone going mad and delusional does tend to suffer from being a plot where things happen to the person. This is a bit of a consistent flaw in them, and it can be hard for a film with that plot line to sustain momentum. That happened in Repulsion, it happens in Jacob's Ladder, it happens in this. I do feel there's 15 or 20 minutes that could be taken out of this film, but Polanski does have a habit of running long. And weirdly, I only felt that in the later bit where he was getting more delusional. Like the first 40 minutes, I was absolutely delighted, even though basically nothing happened. I was delighted by it. I loved the atmosphere. But it was later on I found I was getting a little impatient. So I'd be taking points away from that. But otherwise, ambitious. I like it. John Goris has gone for 10 burgers. Very strong. I didn't have the emotional reaction to it that I think would push it up. But was I like an 8 for Repulsion? I like this more than Repulsion. I like it more than that. So I feel I have to go for a 9. Got to be a 9. I'm leaving room for more, but this is because it didn't give me the emotional reaction, basically, and I did feel it dragged a little bit, but gosh darn that landing hit. So 9 burgers out of 12 feels good to me, which realistically is 9 out of 11 because there is no Tony Todd. And you've got to have Tony Todd in the film if you want your full 12 burgers. So 9 burgers, very meaty, lots you can get your teeth into, and very welcome bit of pickle if we're honest with ourselves. We got to bring this fashion back. We really have. We have. I've got a 6 from Adam. Yes. Loved those 5 minutes and ending, but I was bored, especially with his co-workers. Well, did you notice how I basically didn't cover them? Wasn't a fan of that scene. Very rash. I'd have cut them. Lawrence going for an 8 or 9. Yeah, also a little too long. Yeah. Anderson, maybe would you go for a 9 or would you go a bit higher? We do use the 12 burgers score here. Very, very weird 12 burger score. I'm glad I'm glad you're chuffed with that, because you came in a big fan of that, and I'm really glad you enjoyed it. What we do, we like to go in depth here. We go in depth. We do little themes every month, and we cover things in much more detail than anyone else. Love doing it. Give people a little break from the world. Oh, 9 out of 10 for Anderson. Well, in burgers, I think that would be a 10 out of a 10 out of 12. So yeah, that's a strong score. We're not too far off there. Lawrence, the ninth gate next, or we riot. Yes. Do not worry, Lawrence. So I am wanting to get a quiz in at the end of the month, but I've got to confirm that. But it should be the end of the month. So next week, we are going to do the ninth gate. We might discuss briefly the Fearless Vampire Killers if I have time to watch. But ninth gate is going to be the one we do, because we wanted to do a bit of a jump in time, basically. Now, obviously, there is a big hole here. Where's Rosemary's Baby? How are you doing Polanski horror and not covering his best-known horror? Do not worry. We are going to do Rosemary's Baby as a Saturday stream. It's probably going to be me and Waifu. And the reason I did that, I've gone for that, is call me a leftist, call me a filthy standpoint theory leftist. But I did not want to cover that movie with the regular panel where none of us have been pregnant. So, again, I'll take accusations of standpoint theory leftism. But yeah, I wanted a couple of women who'd been pregnant on the panel. So that is what we're going to go for. We will give you the pregnant perspective on that film. So there we go. That's a bit of a treat. And also, it does let us cover an extra one. Yes. I'll try and watch one of the remakes as well if I can stomach it. But I don't know, was it the 2014 Rosemary's Baby Daddy? I'm not into it. All right. So there you go. You are getting your wish. We will cover Ninth Gate. I've struggled with that movie. I have. I watched it about 3 times, but I always struggle with it. I'll remind you, by the way, since I forgot to, like this video. If you made it this far, like the stream, like it. I got it in my head I was going to prompt over the course of this, but I'm doing this solo, and thoughts are flying thick and fast. So I forgot. So if you haven't already, please do like the stream. That helps the channel. If you're one of those wonderful people on the rewatch, like the stream as well. It really helps. Leave a comment. Tell me what you thought. And yeah, there we go. You have got your review and analysis of the Tenant. I hope describing it as a weirder, thirstier, Frencher version of Rear Window was not too harsh. I thought you'd enjoy that. And you've got your horror homework. Your horror homework is going to be The Ninth Gate. But also, get your Rosemary's Baby rewatch in. Get that rewatch in. And you'll be prepared for the Saturday stream. It's not going to be this one. It might be the Saturday after. So you could have 2 streams next week. Could be a good one. Horror Shorts Patrick Batman. I could go back to them. The only thing is, I have a longer project to do. I need to do the history of the MPAA. So I've got to prioritize that for a bit. But yes, we can absolutely return to Horror Shorts. That was fun. Yeah, John Graham, if you can find the link or the name of the video and the channel, just post it as a comment. If you can't find it now, that would be great. Recommendations from you, very appreciated. And Adamless Horror, thank you so much. Again, $2, very much appreciated. Female lib stories coming. Like his friend said, yeah, I'm sorry. Maybe this film's done something to me, but I just really feel we need that representation, you know? Yeah. No, genuinely, I think it'll help. And also, I love having waifu on. So it'll be a treat for me as well. Thank you again, Adam's Horror. Very much appreciated. So yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Like if you haven't already, so to keep saying that. Oh, hang on. I was almost closing off, but what a suggestion. Nonce November. Really, Lawrence, you've been around this channel long enough. You know we have code words here. Haribo-vember, surely. The Little Girl Who Lives Down the Lane, excellent suggestion. Vintage Martin Sheen and Jodie Foster. Filmed before Taxi Driver, I believe. Very good watch, that. Hard Candy. I'm a massive fan of that film. I know it cheats a bit, but I love that film. The Hunt. The Hunt, I mean, very powerful. Quite horrific. Great Mads Mikkelsen. I'll be tempted to throw in something like Michael, the Austrian film. That would be good. I mean, we already covered Possum. We already covered 8 Mil. Gosh, that would be a really depressing month, though. Are you sure? Yeah. Are you sure that would be? Yeah. Would Jeepers Creepers turn up? Why not? Why not? A lot of horror reviewers refuse to touch that film now. It's weird that. Yeah, Nonce November. I know. I like all those films, but yeah, that would be an extremely, extremely depressing month. I'm going to be honest with you. Oh, excellent. For everyone interested, John has found the name. It's Suspiria's Hidden Story of Toxic Parenthood. Brilliant. There we go. That's 4.5 hours sorted for us. Love the sound of it. Michael by John Travolta. Not that Michael. It's not as bad. All right. Yeah, oh gosh, we'd have to we could do it, but it's so depressing. Something I do want to do is it'll turn up in the votes again when members get to vote on the topic. But I want to do a couple of arcs where we look at those early 2000s remakes of the 70s and 80s classics. Because I think they get a hard rap. I've watched a lot of them, and okay, some are terrible, but a lot of them do a really good job. So yeah, I'll be a bit of a Philistine there. So we'll give it a go. We'll give it a go. All right. Well, folks, thank you very much. Very generous stream. Adam, thank you particularly. You've been extremely generous tonight. Great discussion. You guys have been funny. The puns have been terrible. The film has been excellent. And you have got your homework for next week. Ninth Gate and Rosemary's Baby. I thought this might be a weird one. I thought this might be hard to do, but it's yeah, I'm glad we did this. It's been a weird day. It's been a trying day. I hope this has helped. If you've been like I have, just been feeling weirded out and stressed out and a bit grim over what happened. So I'll absolutely concur. Yeah, rest in peace, Charlie Kirk, and thoughts are with his family, and especially his children. And let's really hope that things get turned around. So yeah, I'm glad that helped. I really am glad, guys. Thank you. It helped me. And yeah, I'm glad to provide a bit of distraction and a bit of an uplift. That is what the channel likes to do. All right. So thank you again. I hope you have a good Friday. I hope there's a lovely weekend ahead of you. Take it easy, folks. Thank you for joining me tonight. Thank you on the replay. You guys are fabulous. And I will see you soon. Thanks, y'all. Cheers.